The recipe I'm cooking in this video follows some of the genuine preparation techniques and ingredients, such as an onion, celery, and carrot sofrito, or sauce base, minced beef, fatty pork, and tomatoes, while adding some non-genuine ingredients that I like to cook with at home. By the way, this recipe makes about 5 medium portions for 2 people, and it freezes and thaws very well. Let's start off by prepping the base of the sauce, which consists of 4 small onions, which we slice in half, peel off the outer skin, slice with the grain first, and then chop roughly against the grain. This helps with keeping the pieces fairly uniform in size, and it's a little quicker too. Throw the chopped onion in a bowl and leave it to one side. Next up, we have 1 stick of celery that I peel to remove some of the tougher strings that can get stuck in your teeth. Slicing down the middle, then finally chopping along the stalk, creates slivers that break down more easily during cooking, spreading celery's wonderful aromatic flavour that enhances the umami flavour of sauces, even in small quantities. Celery goes in with the onion to one side while I continue to prep. 1 medium carrot is skinned and its tips lopped off with the peeler, just to reduce the amount that goes into the compost. Just make sure you go deep enough to remove dirt or any undesirable bits. Coarsely grated carrot is less likely to clump up when cooked with the onion, celery, and garlic. If it's grated too finely though, it can be difficult to break apart when you begin cooking it. Again, set the carrot to one side, separately from the celery and onion. Right then, let's move on to garlic. Skin 3 large cloves of garlic and grate finely. The more finely grated or chopped garlic is, the more chemical reactions can occur within the garlic cells, which produces more allicin and increases the garlic flavour. Basically, finer, stronger, rougher, weaker. Okay, chili time! To me, 1 Serrano or red chili is just enough to add a bit more depth to the Bolognese without any spiciness. Slice lengthways, remove the seeds and veins, the veins where the heat comes from, and chop very finely. Set aside a dozen fresh cherry tomatoes that we will add to the dish later on. Let's get into some bacon. My household's favourite type of bacon is smoked streaky bacon. The higher fat content makes the bacon crisp up really nicely, and the fat retains more of the smoky flavour. Set aside 6 or 7 whole rashers to fry later. Next, we unpack the minced beef. 1 kilogram of 12% fat minced beef makes this recipe delicious. Use a leaner beef mince if you like, but I find that this amount of fat transmits more to the pasta when it's served. Place the whole lot in a bowl and set to one side. Best practice, wash your hands after handling meat. Compared to my video on 4 different chili recipes, Bolognese only has a couple of herbs and seasonings. Measure out 2 teaspoons of oregano and grab 2 bay leaves. Mine are dried, but it makes no difference seeing as the sauce is going to be simmered for quite a while. 2 beef stock cubes bring the main seasoning to the recipe, and they're just so convenient. I really should try fresh beef stock though to see what difference that makes. Anyway, next up is tomato puree. Did you know the inside of the cap is used to pierce the tube? Life-changing moment right here. Okay, grab a tablespoon and fill it to the brim and then some, for about 2 tablespoons worth. Red wine unifies this dish's component ingredients with another flavour category, acidity. Dishes that contain tomatoes or red meat are commonly paired with red wine when served at the table because of how they complement one another. I like to add around 175ml of my favourite red wine, because good wine makes stuff taste better than bad wine. Pour into a container and leave it for later. Finally, grate 75 grams of Parmesan cheese, another source of fat, saltiness and acidity that accents the other flavours within and thickens the sauce slightly. Stick it back in the fridge to grab later. If I were adding Parmesan directly to a finished meal, I would grate it fresh, but because it's going in a sauce, I'm not too concerned that it will sit in the fridge for a while. With all the prep done, we're ready to cook. First thing I do is fry the bacon. 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil goes in a frying pan on my largest burner. I start off on my burner's highest heat, flipping occasionally to prevent too much colour on one side. When I do see colour, I turn down the heat to its lowest setting and try not to move it too much. When the bacon is golden and crisp, move to a paper towel to let it cool and stiffen. Into a large saucepan on medium heat on my largest burner goes 1 tablespoon of olive oil, followed by the onions, celery and garlic. After a quick stir, I leave the veg to sweat while I add small batches of beef mince to a second pan. Giving my sauce base a quick jostle with a wooden spoon every now and then stops the sugars in the onions from burning and sticking to the bottom of the pan. As soon as the onions are beginning to look glossy, in goes the coarsely grated carrot that sweats down briefly before adding the oregano, chopped chili pepper and whole cherry tomatoes. Squashing the cherry tomatoes helps them to break down more quickly and prevents someone from getting a whole boiling hot cherry tomato in a forkful of sauce later on. Tomato puree, beef stock cubes and 3 cans of chopped tomatoes go in next and get a good mix together. Simmering and stirring the sauce for a few minutes helps to get heat evenly distributed throughout the ingredients we just put in, and lifts any caramelized sugar from the bottom of the pan. Okay, back to the meat. Moving the beef around the pan only when necessary helps the browning process to take hold, and that's what we want. There's amazing flavour in that golden brown that will make its way into the sauce if I'm conservative with how much I move it. Cooking in batches helps the water to evaporate from the beef. I want the beef to fry, not steam. When a batch is done, I transfer it to a large bowl until all of the beef mince is cooked. But look, the pan has morsels of cooked mince still stuck to it. How will I get it off? The answer, red wine. While the pan is still blazing hot, I add the red wine to help lift off those remaining flavours and pieces of meat. It also heats the wine through, so I'm not adding cold ingredients to the simmering pan of sauce. Let the wine reduce a little while gently helping the meat off the base of the pan. Okay, back to the bacon. Once cooked, the bacon goes rigid and brittle, so when a knife is applied, it crumbles into beautiful crunchy little shards of smoky saltiness. All of the cooked beef goes into the saucepan with all of the bacon bits before adding the red wine and 2 bay leaves. 1 hour 15 minutes on the timer, and I turn the burner down to its lowest setting before replacing the lid. While that cooks away, I have time to clean up. A practice I'm usually better at doing as I cook, but camera equipment and lights kind of get in the way. Plus I'm thinking of what I need to stir or film next while making this video. Now that I've cleared the decks, I can prepare the finishing touches to the Bolognese. 5 minutes before the end of the sauce's cooking time, I pick a handful or so of leaves from this slightly battered and bruised basil plant, and I chop them up roughly. Out comes the grated parmesan, and the lot goes into the sauce before being folded in with my handful of freshly picked and chopped basil leaves. And there we have it! A complete Bolognese sauce. To serve, I cook spaghetti in not overly salted water. There's actually no need to add so much salt to pasta water because it doesn't do that much to cooking time or taste. And I boil it without a lid for 12 or so minutes until it's just done. Serve straight into the center of a dish and lay a generous spoonful of bolognese right on top. Garnish with a select leaf of basil and crown with finely grated fresh parmesan. If you're feeling extra hungry, well, why not treat yourself to some garlic bread to add some crunchy texture? Grab a fork and get stuck in.